It was 11:55 p.m. I was standing in my room, fully dressed in a black suit and a hat I didn't remember buying. I didn't even remember putting it on. But somehow it was already on my head like it belonged there. I just stared at myself in the mirror, confused, heart pounding. It felt like I had just woken up, but I was wide awake the whole time. Then I turned and saw something even stranger. Right there on the small table by my bed as a piece of paper. A receipt. It had only one line written on it, "Reminder, come and pay. It is getting late." That's when I checked the clock again. 11:58 p.m. And in that moment, I knew something was seriously wrong. Welcome to Nightmare Patty, your gateway to the darkest horrors. Stay with me as I take you through this horror encounter. Share, like, and subscribe for more gripping horror stories. It was a regular Friday morning. The sun was up, the sky was clear, and the three of us, Jack, Dave, and I were heading to the Houston Farmers Market in my Ford F-150. We had a grocery list in Jack's hand, music playing in the car, and a light mood in the air. When we got to the market, it was alive in every way. Colorful stalls stretched across the place, filled with fruits, vegetables, baskets, clothes, and more. People moved around in all directions. Some were buying, some just passing through. You could hear voices calling out deals, children laughing, the rustle of bags, and the low hum of many footsteps. We split the list between us and walked through the rows, picking up what we came for. Nothing felt off. Just a normal day surrounded by people and noise. Then something caught my eye. It was a hat sitting by itself on a wooden stool near the edge of the market. Not in a regular shop. Just a small setup next to a faded sign that read A1. The hat didn't look old, but it felt like it had a story. The pattern on it was strange, not fancy, just different. Like something you'd never see twice. I walked up to the seller. A woman. She looked calm and quiet, sitting alone. She didn't shout like the others. She just looked up and smiled when I got close. But it was a strange kind of smile. Like it stopped at her mouth and never made it to her eyes. She wore a plain dress. Her perfume was the first thing I noticed, strong and sharp, like lemon and honey. At first it smelled good. Then it stayed in my nose in a way I didn't like. I asked if I could see the hat. She handed it to me gently. I held it in my hands and ran my fingers across it. I've seen a lot of hats in my life, but this one, it felt different. Felt like it shouldn't be here, like it came from somewhere else. I told her I liked it, but I wasn't sure yet. I asked her to keep it aside, that I'd come back later. She said she would. Then she looked at me and added softly, "Don't worry, I'll remind you." The way she said it made my chest feel tight for a second. Not loud, not creepy. Just strange. But I smiled, nodded, and turned to go find my friends. I told myself I was overthinking it. Just a tired mind making up nonsense. I was wrong. So after leaving the hat lady's stall, I kept moving through the market. I was looking for the boys when I heard someone call my name, Williams. I hadn't seen him in years. He used to live 2 streets away from me back in the day. Now he runs a small stall selling carved wooden spoons and bowls. We stood there talking for a long time. It started with the usual "have you been" stuff, but before I knew it, we were laughing over old stories, catching up on mutual friends, and talking about work, family, everything. I didn't even notice how much time had passed until Jack called me and said they were already at the truck. I left in a bit of a rush, trying not to keep them waiting. We drove off, chatting, joking, and just like that, I completely forgot about the hat. Didn't even cross my mind again, not for a while. That evening, we went out. First to this local restaurant we always liked, then later to a club nearby. The music was loud, people were dancing, drinks were flowing, the usual weekend madness. Nothing strange happened at first. Just the 3 of us having fun, surrounded by noise and flashing lights. But when we got back to the house later that night, something about Jack felt off. He was quiet, not tired, just restless. While Dave crashed on the couch and passed out without a word, Jack stayed awake. I caught him pacing the hallway, staring out the window, mumbling things I couldn't make out. At first, I thought maybe he drank too much or was thinking about something personal. So I didn't ask. I went to bed. Then came the part no one can explain. It was 11:55 p.m. when Dave walked into my room. He stopped in the doorway and stared at me. I was standing by the mirror, fully dressed in a black suit and tie like I was about to attend a wedding or something formal. On my head was the hat, that same hat from the market. But here's the thing. I didn't put any of it on. I swear, one moment I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone, the next, I was standing there like someone else had dressed me. My hands were cold. My mouth was dry. I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't feel like I was looking at myself. Dave said, "Where did you get that hat?" I couldn't answer him. I didn't know what to say. I just froze. Then I turned and saw the table. Lying on it was a small piece of paper. A receipt. On it, in neat handwriting, were the words, "Hat delivered on trust. Come pay. It is getting late." That's when the chill really hit me. Not from the room, from inside. Like something had moved in quietly while I wasn't paying attention. Dave didn't say a word. He just rushed over, grabbed the hat off my head, snatched the receipt from the table, and wrapped them together like trash. Then he opened the window and threw them out hard. Like he was hoping they'd disappear for good. We both stood there, staring. Then the clock on the wall hit 12 a.m. The moment it did, something shifted. Not outside in the room. In the air. In us. Neither of us spoke. There was nothing to say. It felt like the house was holding its breath. And so were we. From that point on, it was no longer just a weird night. Between midnight and 4:45 a.m., everything came apart. I couldn't sleep, not even close. And neither could Dave. We were both wide awake, but it felt like we were trapped inside something that wasn't fully real. That woman, the one from the market, she showed up. Not in the room, but in dreams, in corners, in reflections. I saw her in the bathroom mirror when I went to splash water on my face. She didn't move. She didn't blink. She just stared with that same tight smile that never reached her eyes. Every time I shut my eyes for even a second, I heard her voice. Soft. Calm. "You said you'd come back." The lights flickered now and then. My phone? Dead. No signal. No time showing. Just black. Dave's phone was the same. It was like time had stepped out of the house and left us behind. The hat came back. I don't know how, but it did. First, I saw it at the end of the hallway, sitting right in the middle like someone had placed it there. I didn't touch it, just stared. Later, it was on the couch. Then, at the foot of my bed. We both kept seeing it sometimes at the same time. At one point, Dave screamed from his room. I ran in and he was pointing at the wall beside his bed. He said she was standing right there. I swear, right there. I didn't say anything. I had seen her too. In my own room. Same spot. Same look. We weren't dreaming. We were living through something we couldn't explain. It felt like the night would never end. Morning came. I hadn't slept. Dave hadn't either. We looked like we'd both gone through a storm. But we got in the truck and drove straight back to the market. I found Williams and pulled him aside. I pointed to the spot where the woman stood, where I saw the hat. He looked confused, then serious. "No one sells there," he said. "That spot's been closed for years. There's no stall A1. I didn't believe it. I dragged him there myself. We got to the place and it was empty, dirty. The ground was cracked. A rusted chain blocked the way. A faded wooden sign hung on one nail. No vending. I didn't understand. So Dave and I went to the market office. Asked to see the security footage from the day before. They pulled it up on the monitor. And there I was standing alone. Talking to no one. Hands moving like I was holding something, but there was nothing there. No woman. No stall. No hat. Dave looked at me, pale, and I had no words. That night, back at home, I gathered every hat I owned. 5 in total. I bagged them. Tossed them in the bin outside, locked the door, and even checked twice if the door was really locked. I slept a little easier until morning. When I woke up, there was a hat sitting on my bedside table. Not one of the 5. Not one I've ever seen. But it looked familiar. And the smell? Faint, but clear. Lemon and honey. I never went back to that market again. But some nights, just before midnight, the scent drifts through the house. And I know she's still waiting. This has been the Nightmare Patty. Your gateway to the darkest horrors. Like and share the story to anyone who loves gripping horror story. Subscribe to my channel for more horror stories, and if you have subscribed already, thank you for riding along with me.